Yeah, there we go. Somebody running across the street. It looks like somebody they possibly know. Did they just run in and get one of the children? All right. Well, there we go. We got at least one person getting out. We have a child. And did she take that child out of the vehicle?
Welcome to Viral Twist, where small problems turn into big dramas, and sometimes a family road trip becomes a police chase. Let's see what madness happened this time.
The 91. Yeah, it looks like depending on if he stays in the right lane or the suspect here, we're going to the place that they're headed. You know, a lot of times they will head to an area that they are familiar with. You wonder what must be going through their minds with two kids on board at speeds this high. And now on the 91 freeway, we're headed into the Long Beach area. It's hard to say where they may continue on to, and we always speculate if they may be heading to a spot that they're familiar with, maybe home. We've seen that in several cases. Yeah, there's so many things that could go wrong, especially at this high rate of speed. You know, somebody who doesn't see that vehicle and makes a turn in front of them, we've seen that, and, you know, look at that there, getting right up behind that car, and then passing. We're seeing above 80 miles an hour, probably close to 90 there, and the regular traffic obviously is doing about 20 miles an hour less than that. There's not much in the way of delays up ahead. Of course, if you stay on the 91 freeway, that ends at the 110, and we'll just have to follow along and see how this eventually ends here. They have not gone into surveillance mode, and you know, as you follow these pursuits, it's interesting, depending on the authority and who's in charge of the pursuit, whether they go into that surveillance mode or not. We've got a CHP helicopter overhead. We've got LA County Sheriff's Department helicopter overhead, and then we have the CHP patrol cars who are in charge of this down on the freeway there. At this point, they have not backed off. You can see the patrol cars are still behind this vehicle, so it's really tough sometimes to get inside the police officers' heads and see what their strategy is, but it hasn't been to back off yet, which is a little interesting considering there are children on board, or at least we have that report. Well, the reason they go into surveillance mode is they have the helicopter overhead, and they feel that if they drop back and they don't follow behind this vehicle with the patrol cars, it's going to drive at not such a high rate of speed, and it's not going to try and avoid the officers on the ground. Sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't, but you're not going to know if it works unless you go into surveillance mode and you follow it from the air. Then all of a sudden this vehicle slows down to the speed limit. You're not so concerned about the occupants and about the people on the freeway. So it looks like from time to time that is the reasoning they will use, and they haven't gone to that yet. But once again, we can speculate all we want. We don't know what the police officers know, so we don't want to second guess what they're doing. I'm not saying it to state that because they may know a lot more than we do, but they have backed off quite a bit now. If you open up, Jamie, we'll get rid of Sky Map 7 there with all the freeways. No, he's not, and that's part of it as well. They have backed off, but the vehicle is still keeping that same speed, that same rate, and now the patrol cars are catching up once again. But they're not right on that SUV's tail. They backed off a bit. There's two helicopters overhead, so they're not going to get away. And they may have, before we got on this, Philip, they may have went to surveillance mode. And then they may have noticed from the helicopters that this individual was driving just as erratically, even more erratically, because he couldn't see the officers, thinking he was getting away or she was getting away. We just don't know yet. And maybe that is why they stayed with this. So there's a lot of unknowns here. And, boy, there's a right turn very quickly. I think there's going to be Long Beach Boulevard, if I'm not mistaken, actually Alameda, actually. And this is where it can get very dicey very quickly. A vehicle traveling this rate of speed with a high center of gravity, an SUV like that, coming off onto this off-ramp, and we can only hope they slow down and take it easy here. They're going to come up onto the Alameda Street here in just a moment and make a turn either north or southbound. That certainly is. You know, we really get scared when we see that kind of driving in a residential neighborhood, especially, you know, so many kids are at home. They're out playing in the yard. This is more of an industrial area here in Wilmington. We go a little further west, we'll be in San Pedro. But I think the good thing about this, Philip, is that the suspect is really slowed down. We're not seeing what we saw up to 100 miles an hour on the freeway. And it'll be interesting. A lot of times we wonder if they know where they're going, and then at some point maybe the suspect will make a run for it. But considering there's two kids on board, you start to wonder what the relationship might be, like you asked. I'm assuming they don't think they're kidnapped, because I don't think they would back off if that was the case. I'm assuming more than likely because they went to this mode of just sitting back and watching surveillance. They don't feel there's an immediate danger to the children. So maybe they know now that it's a mother or a father. Maybe they don't speak good English, or maybe they're just scared and they're trying to talk to someone. in the family or calling their cell phone. They're trying to do a lot of things to try and get this to conclude without anybody getting hurt. That's definitely their plan. That's their strategy. Yeah, and it's going to get interesting here, too, because they just saw a patrol car there in the center median a moment ago, and we're going to head into Long Beach. So LAPD Harbor Division will probably hand this over to Long Beach PD at some point. And what's interesting when you follow these pursuits is that different agencies just have different strategies and procedures. So we'll see if that changes. Also, if they continue over the Gerald Desmond, which you're going to see in a moment, and it is spectacular. That's quite a bridge. You get right down into downtown Long Beach. You have a chance to get on the 710. But if you pass that and you head down towards Ocean, you're right into the heart of Long Beach. And Long Beach PD would take over at that point in time, and we just have to see what their strategy is. But I think right now they're pretty content with what they see. This vehicle doesn't appear to be causing much of a threat at this point. Certainly it was earlier. Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, I don't know what the laws are regarding how long they're going to keep somebody in jail. I think it used to be 6 months minimum sentence if you were involved in a pursuit. Whether with COVID that has changed. Okay, all right. I wasn't really aware of the changes that were made there. But there are going to be a lot of charges compiled against this individual. If it is that man's children, then it wouldn't surprise me if they take the children away. It would definitely be endangering his own kids, and there would be a question whether or not this individual is capable of caring for a child of that age. Looks like we're getting off of the 110 freeway now onto PCH. And if the suspect makes a left turn here, they'll be going eastbound. So, yeah, that looks like that was a red light that we just ran there. And now we're going underneath the 110 freeway. Yeah, no, but it was a red light as well. Unfortunately, there was nobody coming through there, and he was able to slow and look. But now we're on PCH, and it'll be interesting to see if this makes a right turn here. I'm not sure. This Figueroa, which basically parallels the 110 freeway. And now we're turning into a residential area. Now, this is going to get tricky, and now law enforcement has to make a decision. A lot of cases, what we'll see is a suspect make a run for it, or they go towards their own home if they're actually in an area that they know. But it's the first time we've really seen the vehicle get into a surface street or into a residential area on a surface street next to homes. We hope that he doesn't start driving erratically because there's going to be kids out today riding their bike, playing. It can be very dangerous very quickly. That's possible. Yeah, that's very possible, but things will change as far as law enforcement is concerned because, you know, CHP is not going to be the lead agency any longer. I think this is going to be, Jay may help me with this. This may be LAPD's, LAPD Harbor division here. And they, for the most part, we believe that LAPD at this point is just going to back off. But it's interesting how these things change when they go into different jurisdictions. CHP still has a helicopter overhead, and we're seeing the vehicle really slow here. It's hard to say if they know someone. You know, we've seen in a lot of cases in the past that they'll get on the phone and talk with someone, and then they'll have that person out in the street, and they'll, you know, maybe go to talk to someone. There we go, somebody running across the street. It looks like somebody they possibly know. Did they just run in and get one of the children? All right, well, there we go. We got at least one person getting out. We have a child, and did she take that child out of the vehicle? I didn't see. Did she take that child out of the vehicle, or did she? Yeah. Oh, that's another woman. That's a woman with a baby, I think. Go to open up. Yep. Careful here, Jamie. Careful. Okay, he's making a run for it. You're always worried when he gets out. We don't want to see someone up close being shot by officers. And that suspect did not appear that they were going to obey the officers. If he would have made a quick move, that really could have been, the officer fell. That could have been a dicey situation. They're going to get the suspect in a moment. He's going to get tired. Officers are in pursuit. I think the main thing, Philip, the kids are safe. Nobody was hurt. The suspect will be taken into custody.